Hi, everybody. My name is Marika Chauvin. I am a threat intelligence researcher at Threat Connect. A little bit about me. Before coming to Threat Connect, I worked as a cyber threat intelligence analyst for a major oil and gas company and helped to build out their cyber intelligence center. And before that, I spent a few years as a contractor in Washington, D.C. A couple of more personal things about me. I am borderline obsessed with Harry Potter to the point that all of my pets have names of the Order of the Phoenix. We have Tonks and Lupin, who are two cats, and this little guy is Kingsley. And because I don't have very many hobbies, I also run a dog Instagram for him because he's super cute. Currently, I am based out of New Orleans, so laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. All right, so this is kind of a brief overview of the presentation I'm going to give just now. I'm going to start with a little introduction, kind of showing you the differences and similarities between the two malware variants that I've been researching for about 1.5 years or so now, KASPERAGENT and Cloudy. And then I'm going to jump into a little bit more background into both. First, KASPERAGENT, or KASPERAGENT, however you want to pronounce it, and then talk a little about Cloudy, go back to those overlaps, and then finish with some conclusions specifically related to potential targets, potential attribution, and the ongoing research into this stuff. Okay. So first, I wanted to show you guys this Venn diagram to show you kind of the overlaps that we're seeing, or that I'm seeing in this research. First, you'll notice that both of the variants drop a decoy file. Something you're going to see me talk about a little bit more in the next few slides is that it looks like the variants are being used, the same dropper is being used to drop these two distinct variants. Throughout this research, I've been tracking the MPASH specifically, and this MPASH to date has only really been used to drop one of these two variants, which I found interesting. So yeah, let's jump into it. So a little bit about KASPERAGENT. KASPERAGENT was actually publicized by Palo Alto Networks Unit 42 last year, and it was linked to some Android malware called Micropsia. At the time, the report indicated that this is likely a Middle East-based threat group, and that the known targets were US, Israel, the Palestinian Territories, and Egypt. In May of last year, I actually found what looked to be a relatively new KASPERAGENT campaign that also used a user agent string and a callout domain that was included in the Palo Alto Networks report. But also, I found an additional domain, this windowsnewupdates.com. As I was analyzing these various samples, sorry, my voice is getting all funky. Anyway, so as I was analyzing these samples, I started noticing that the decoy documents appeared to be specifically Palestinian Authority themed. Most of them had, as you can see here, a State of Palestine, Palestinian Authority letterhead, making it look like it might be an official document. And then further analysis suggested that maybe these decoy documents were being used in an attack against potential Palestinian Authority targets. So I wrote this really simple YARA rule, and just using a testproj.pdb string that I found in the malware, as well as that MPASH that I mentioned earlier, and just kind of let it go to see what I could find. As you can see here, and you kind of can't really read the tags here on the right-hand side here, but all of these are tagged dropper because they all include that MPASH. But as we started analyzing these various samples that were coming in based on this YARA rule, we started noticing that it looked like it was dropping two different malware variants. The callouts were different. They had two different PDB strings. Just looked slightly different. So yeah, so we started tagging them separately, one Cloudy based on the PDB string in that malware, and the other KASPERAGENT based on the PDB string in the KASPERAGENT sample. Additionally, running these through some automated malware analysis engines, we started to find that the callouts triggered on rules associated with Arid Viper, APT C23, and Desert Falcons, which are all Middle East-based threats. Arid Viper and Desert Falcons, I believe, refer to the same organization or entity, and that is supposedly, potentially, maybe, based out of Egypt. We're not really sure. But something else that we noticed was that unlike the KASPERAGENT samples, the decoy documents associated with the cloudy samples were almost all international relations themed. There were one or two that were both Palestinian Authority and international relations themed. So it might say something like, hey, we're gonna have a visit from so-and-so, a foreign diplomat, but specifically use that letterhead that you guys saw earlier. All right, so more potential overlaps other than just this MPASH. In one or two samples that we found, we actually saw this file get pulled down from both a cloudy-related domain and a KASPERAGENT-related domain, suggesting that maybe somebody messed up, or we don't know. Looks like this stuff is probably related. So we're back to this Venn diagram. We have these weird user agents. We have these two separate callouts. Additionally, we started digging into some of the whois information for this rvidofree.com domain and found that the person that registered that domain actually also registered a cloudy-related domain, just in words, but it had never been used in association with the cloudy samples that we saw. But something that we did find interesting was that the IP block, or these two call-out domains, are located in the same IP block, which could mean something. Who knows? All right, so I've talked really fast. And conclusions. In trying to figure out who these targets are, this research has primarily been done in just digging into the data available in public malware analysis, like websites, not specifically on a victim box or anything like that. This is just trying to find these samples in the wild. So looking at the submitter information for these samples, we did notice that it looked like most of the KASPERAGENT samples had been submitted from the Palestinian Territories, Israel, and the United States. There were some outliers, but the majority of them had come from these areas. Cloudy, on the other hand, had also Palestinian Territories and Israel, but in addition, it had some Asia, Southeast Asia areas, suggesting that maybe those international relations themed emails might have also been intended to target those organizations in those areas. So, attribution, who is this? It remains unconfirmed. I'm sticking with the likely Middle East-based organization. It's somebody that's interested in both Israel and Palestine. It's possible that it could be a non-state entity or a political organization. In particular, an organization like Hamas would likely be interested in these kinds of targets. And as I mentioned earlier, this is ongoing research, and so I've deployed these different YAR rules that are relatively simple, but they are available on the Threat Connect common community website. So if anybody has a Threat Connect account, you can sign up for one for free, and it's all available right there. And that's me. If you want to contact me on Twitter, and that's my dog Instagram. I know I talked really fast. Any questions?